Valle Gran Ray, we drive up. Our first stop will be in the middle of the island. La Laguna Grande is a crater. And we have a stroll there through the forest. A little one, yeah, half an hour break, toilets as well. Then we drive ahead, and here we get wonderful viewpoints at the Los Roques, the volcanic plaques, domes, Roque Agando, you might have heard the name of this. Then we drive down this in-between road. You see, this is the south road, this is the north road. And here we drive down through the forest, meeting the north road, going down into Hermigua, the banana valley. And in Agulo, there's a pretty little village. There we have another stroll, maybe half an hour, a little bit up, a little bit down. Do you think everybody can do it? Who has difficulties with walking? Nobody? Good. Fine, we do it together. And around 2-ish, we reached Vallamoso, this valley, this village in the northwest. And there we will have at least 1 hour to have a little lunch, maybe a sandwich or a soup or a tapa, yeah, what it's called here in Spanish, a little plate with something. And then we come back from the northwest, up there, another view stop, and we will be back after 4 o'clock today. Maybe 4:30, maybe 4 o'clock. We will see. So we will have a nice day. How the weather is in the mountain, we never really know exactly. Could be a little bit cooler than here. And for Saturday, they say it will slowly start raining a little bit, and Sunday we will get a heavy rain. But by that time you're back in England? You will have also rain. Yeah, but maybe the people in England are not so happy about the rain. We are absolutely happy because the last rainfall, a little rainfall we had in April. The last good rainfall was in February. So we are missing the rain. And the nature also, yeah. The forest needs water, or the grass and the flowers, they need water to come out. Yeah, springtime starts here around Christmas then. So it has to rain now or soon. During driving is could be dangerous to get up here. If you have any difficulty, just shout. Yeah, we will react. And also better to put up this, so in the curve you don't fall down. So here we go again through Valle Gran Ray. You see some gardens with still some banana plants, some trees, mango, papaya, avocado, and many abundant fields also, because a few years ago every field was planted with bananas for the export to Europe. Now Europe wants the banana from America. They are bigger, they are cheaper, they are more pretty, not tasting better, but so here the people hardly earn the money for the water, for the irrigation, you know, from the bananas. So what is left now from bananas is just a little beside income. They are giving these bananas to the shops here, to the restaurants, to the hotels. And as long as you are here, you better taste these bananas. They might not look so perfect from outside, but inside they have a really good taste. They are really sweet and fruity. Here again we are passing the bus station. There's a little market on Sunday, every Sunday, little market, handicraft, and once a month a little flea market, what helps also. Here the taxi stop, the town hall, the music center, the culture center, tourist information. You can get there also very nice maps if you want to have a little stroll in the afternoon. Driving up the valley, leaving the capital, Canary, here behind us. In olden days there were just 2-3 little houses together, what they called a village. Now with the modern building materials, cement and so on, houses came up quite easy and quite quickly. And where there were 2-3 houses before, now there are 10 or 15 or 20. So these villages were growing and joining together in some places. All these villages got names mostly from plants and flowers. In front of us there is Agulo and Casa de la Seda. Casa de la Seda means silk house. On the left-hand side, there is a beside valley with the name Barranco de Arude, the valley underneath the waterfall from Arude, the mountain village. And there are lots of fruit trees growing, also mulberry trees. And they were feeding silkworms with these mulberry leaves, what they love, and they produced silk in little quantities here in this village till 1974. And then they stopped it because the silk from China, India and so on became cheaper. See here also, this is a nice stroll if you walk up through the houses, between the houses, and then walk into the valley. It's very romantic there with all the fruit trees, half wild. Here is another possibility to enter here, right here on the left hand side. Casa de la Seda we pass, and from here upwards there is hardly tourism. The walkers sometimes they walk up here. Yeah, this is the area where most of the local people live, and we see terraces with green plants. That's mostly new potatoes, and some maize is still there from the summer season. The summer crop is maize and sweet potatoes. Winter crop is then potatoes and all the other vegetables. But here also farming just is a little beside income. You know, Gomera has about 50% people without work. And that's a little bit difficult for the people, but they manage it very, very good because the families are still functioning, and they're helping one and the other. Here we are passing Los Granados, pomegranate. Pomegranate, yeah, it's a difficult word for me. A pomegranate is growing here, so that's where the village got the name from. In front of us, Lomo de Morales, and it has nothing to do with the moral. Yeah, people here have no better or worse moral than elsewhere. Moral is just another word for the mulberry tree. Also here there are mulberry trees. Over there the village has got the name El Hornillo. Hornillo is not a plant, it's a chimney. People over there, traditional, always had big herds of goats up there in the mountains, and there are still 2 big herds up there. So you can imagine they had a lot of milk and made a lot of cheese, and they smoked these cheese in the little chimneys olden days with firewood. Up there, over there, La Vizcaína is also not a plant, but they said the lady from the Vizcaya, La Vizcaína, she was such a beautiful lady, beautiful like a flower. Yeah, and she settled down over there, and the village still got the name La Vizcaína. Where I live, for example, where I built my little house, that was always El Coquillo. And in the first 1-2 years, nobody here learned my name really, yeah. But then after 1 or 2 years time, everybody knew my name. Now I'm famous here in the valley. From up till now, everybody knows my name. And instead of Coquillo, now they say Casa Gisela. So maybe once I'm dead.
Bueno, we're gonna go to La Casa Gisela.
Casa Gisela. Tomorrow after the lunch you come for tea. I make a big pot of tea for you, and coffee if you want. Here we are passing Retamal. Retama is the name of a type of broom, what's growing a little bit further up. Beautiful little white flowers in springtime and smelling just like jasmine. Lomo de Palo over there has got the name from another type of broom, also pretty but not smelling that good, but with the name Balo. So this is Valle Gran Ray, the Valley of the Great King. In those days when the Spanish stepped in, the mayor from this valley, or the king, yeah, they saw him like a king. His name was Hoopa Loopa. And Hoopa Loopa was a very tall and strong man, but also very clever and wise, they said. He tried his best to keep the peace, but the Spanish didn't want that. They wanted to be the boss here, and only them. Yeah, we are passing the church San Antonio, and we get out of this valley. We see now very modern island. There is electricity, gas, there are fantastic roads, ports, good ports, you know. It's modern, but it's not long time ago when the life here was like middle age. It was 1974 when the first ferry came to Gomera and the first modern things were introduced here. And before, these people lived from fishing, farming, exchanging. There was no money, no schools, and nothing. And you can imagine how hard this life was. Business, the exchanging, was always left to the women. And a lady from Hueltas, from the port, for example, on her business day, started walking early morning, 6 or 7 o'clock, yeah, packed with the goods from the coast, the fishes, the bananas, the other tropical fruits, and then carrying that up to a mountain village. This means very steep uphill, carrying heavy. And after 5-6 hours she reached a mountain village. Maybe cousins or family members were living up there, and exchanging it to the mountain goods, the almonds, the figs, the prickly pear, fruit, the mountain honey, wine, and so on. And then carrying that back. That was her little shopping day. The men always did the harder work, and they also had to walk far to their fields, build up the stone walls, prepare the soil, prepare a little irrigation channel out of stone or soil, plant the field, lead the water there, water it many times, many hours under the hot sunshine. And when there, after 3, 4, 5 months, there was a harvest, the man was happily carrying home heavy sacks of potatoes. The point here in Gomera, the Garajonai, can be 15 degrees or even more, and some extreme days. In the summer season, at the coast, there might be in Kalima times when the weather comes from Africa and brings over the Sahara dust. There can be 30-some degrees, and up in the mountain there can be more than 50 degrees. More than 50. And in the winter season, in an ice-cold night at the coast, there might be 15 degrees, and up here in the mountain, a little bit above 0. The world climate has changed and we feel it extremely. There are new weather phenomena we never had before. Or, old people told me this never happened before. It was 3 years ago when they had to block the road on the highest point here on the island because there was ice and snow and hail till the upper part of Valle Gran Ray. This never ever happened before. And here the people don't know how to drive in snow and that there are winter wheels and so on. They have to clean the road and without having experience of that. And then 5 years ago we had a winter without rain. Yeah? This also never ever happened before. Last year we had a rainy day in August, also something very strange, a rainy day in the summertime. Casa Conchita. Very hard wood. Best firewood in olden days for cooking many hours. And also they made the beams under the roofs from this wood. That's why they're never straight here, they're upside down. You see over there, that's the road going up. It needs 2-3 minutes to walk up and reach the coach. There we walk back then. And over there, you see a plant. It's 3 meters high, maybe, with fresh little leaves coming out. That's the giant dandelion. Sonchus is the Latin name. These dandelions grow higher than 2 meters. One dandelion plant has more than 100 flowers. Yellow, like bright yellow, like our dandelion. The seeds are whitish and fluffy, but smaller and heavier. Yeah, after Christmas these flowers come out. And it always dries out in the summer season. It looks dead, but it isn't. Just waiting for water and then growing up.
Yeah, so far. So far.
Really? I see you a little bit.
Yeah, it will be a pill coming back.
If you need my arm, I can...
Okay, I will tell
I give
you.
you a hook.
I will.
Yeah. Okay. We do everything slowly. There's the lagoon. Local people, they use it a lot on the weekends to celebrate birthdays, parties, daytime. That's the information place. 5 minutes, 10 minutes is enough for that place. Here we see the sisters, the rock rose. In Gomera, the flowers are white. In April, May it starts flowering till July nearly. White flowers. Canary is more pink. We have also some pink, but not many. Our rock rose is mostly white. We see the first marguerite coming out. We see these marguerites like here.
Yeah.
It's also drying out in the summer season and it comes out the winter season. And after Christmas, flowering everywhere.
Dandelion.
Here, giant dandelion we have. More marguerite. I think somebody watered them in the summer season, otherwise it wouldn't be green.
For visitors, for the visitors to see the flowers.
Maybe, yeah. Now there is for the ladies and the gents, boys and girls. And there we... Roberto can give you also the map, a nice decorative map from the National Park, in English, if you like. You want a map? Pues, bien, todavía. Hasta la próxima. Cuídate.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got them.
Thank you. That's actually bits, isn't it? Here's a great fire, look.
Yeah. I saw that.
2012. What are we going to do? Overcoming a catastrophic fire of 2012.
Is the fire the red bit, is it? No, I mean on the map.
Yeah, I would think so. Because it said
Yeah,
affected
yeah.
incendio.
Oh, yes, adventure table. Yes. And one or two of those items that we had other museum places, looking at the village and things.
Yeah.
They've got one of those presses over there, maybe it was for wine or something.
Oh, we saw press. We saw them yesterday.
Oh,
they
I
were
didn't.
going the way
Towards-
we went yesterday. We were coming back the way we used to go.
You see on many photos, the most famous one. In olden days, when the boys were about 13, 14, they were climbing up barefoot from the back to the top. And then down came the man. Now, with 13, they start drinking beer and smoking cigarettes, marijuana even, and think they are adult, you know. They don't climb anymore. It was the 11th of September in 1984 when there was a terrible forest fire near the Roque Agando. In those days there was no fire protection at all on the island. The men came from the villages to hit out the flames. The governor was here also helping to put out the flames. They were so unlucky because the wind changed and all of a sudden they were surrounded by flames, and 20 men lost their lives in the fire. We can't see from the viewpoint, but beside that Roque Agando there is a metal statue with 20 names on it. These were the men, including the governor, who died in the flames.
Is it a cruise today?
What?
A cruise?
A cruise? No.
There's no cruises today.
The cruceros.
Cruceros, yeah.
Cruise ship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's looking. I don't like the way he's looking at me. Yeah, aye.
I can hear a car coming. Go ahead.
And see. So they got in 3 places metal cranes, and over these cranes they were loading the little fishing boats. The fishing boats went out and loaded the steamboat with all the tropical fruits and many bananas and tomatoes and so on. And they lived very well by this. In olden days, the north was the richer part, but history changes. And now, the north, with the agriculture, you can't earn a good salary. Then now the money is in the south, where the tourism is. So the people in the north were very rich. Well, not very rich, but they had more than in the south. For example, rich enough to buy window glass. So they built double-store houses with windows, luxury in those days. But then something terrible happened. There was a little seaquake. A little tsunami wave hit the north coast. Nobody was killed, but in these 3 places the cranes were lifted up, and when they came down they collapsed. And this was the end. From one day to the other, it was the end of the export, and this happened in 1955. And it was also the beginning of people emigrating to America. First to Cuba, later on to Venezuela. Here in Gomera you don't find a family without family members in Venezuela, and some in Cuba. Cuba was a very rich place. People could get work, earn money, save some, and come back and be somebody here, start something here. Or then the oil booming years in Venezuela. That was a rich country, still a rich, but not everybody is rich here. So their dream was to work hard some years there, save some money, come back. Some came back, others not. And the population from 47,000 inhabitants, 1955, came down to 17,000. 30,000 Gomeros left the island. And only 1974, with the first ferry, the population was slowly growing again. Now since years we have about 23,000 inhabitants, 10% are foreigners. Mostly from German-speaking country, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, a few Dutch, a few English, some French, some Italian, some Chinese even, you know, and also from Latin America, still people coming back, or the grandchildren from people who once left Gomera.
Population was 23,000.
So 23,000 inhabitants in years. Some are leaving, others are coming.
Yeah, small population to start with.
And only many years later, this means 1900, about 1980, the North got the first road on this island. No, in 74 they started building that road. Yeah, 80 they finished that road. There was a time also when they started building the south roads. But the agriculture in the north never again had the same importance as it had before. Then tourism started. We still see some more agriculture in the north than in the south, but it's only episodic income. Till a few years ago we all called Canary the Banana Valley. Now soon we have to look for another name, because every year there are less banana planted for the same reason as in Valle Gran Ray. There is no subvention, and the farmer receives for a kilo of banana 27 cents. What doesn't make sense. Very well done. We got a good driver. You know, I didn't tell you before for not worrying you. But if we come around this curve and you look back up there, then you know our lives were all in the hands of the drivers. Second ago when I came to stay here. Before, the men had to water their plantation at night with the lamps, you know, to use the running water day and night. And since they got the reservoir, it's much better. They can sleep at night and water in the daytime from the reservoir. But well, it was the end of the summertime. Last winter was not much rain, so this reservoir doesn't have much water left. If there is a good heavy rain, this can fill up in 2-3 days' time. Enough to pass the whole next summer season. And on the right-hand side at the background there is this mountain chain, Encherede. This Encherede mountain is in between the capital, San Sebastian, and Ernico. If you look up there, it's hard to imagine that you can walk up there. But I tell you, it's not even difficult. There are good footpaths up there. And a few years ago I walked it with friends. 9 hours walking, 8 hours we didn't see nobody till we met a shepherd with his herd. Up there is untouched Lauri silver forest. We have beautiful views down there. It's just a long day walk, yeah. But there are 2 fruit trees without season, and this is papaya and banana. They become ripe any time of year, but of course faster ripening bananas in the summer season. We we see in the riverbed a lot of these bamboo, similar to bamboo. This kanya. In olden days they used this for making fences, as animal fodder, as insulation under the roof tiles. They used it. It is an introduced plant but doesn't really belong to Gomera, but it has good growing condition. But there's always a fire risk in the hot summer season. There is at least 1 meter high from the ground height. It is dry and catches fire easily. In front there we see a huge tree that is also introduced. This is an Indian laurel tree. What needs a mild climate. This doesn't grow in the mountain. It grows very fast, very tall, gives a lot of shade, and in olden days a lot of firewood. What we see here in Hermigua are many old houses, some very old, very nice, renovated, others falling apart. Maybe people never ever came back from Cuba or Venezuela. Then some new houses. It's all a mixture. There once was a convent in Hermigua. And soon we will have our coffee and comfort stop. And again, there's not much traffic, but there can be fast cars. Again, super carefully we cross the roads. There are a few women and they're baking biscuits. They're fantastic. And when they know we are coming, and we can have a tea or a coffee, we line up. There's 2 tables, I think, inside and outside on a little terrace. We also can cross the roads and sit on the little wall on the other side. Here we see very nice decorated old houses with the balconies even. Yeah, and also we can buy biscuits there. They are always fresh from today. Here's another Indian laurel tree, and for a short moment on the left-hand side, up there is another volcanic plug in 2 parts with the name Pedro y Pablo, Peter and Paul.
Quite a lot of housing and businesses.
Yeah, yes, this is a nice valley, and where we stop also, we see some agriculture, some banana, fruit tree. It's a nice place. They also say Hermigua has the best climate of the world. This I don't know. I don't know, but it is a good climate, yes. Here we are. No space for the bus to park. Super careful. Bananas what they export to mainland Spain. Here on the left hand side we see this banana cooperative. This is where they collect, bring the bananas after the collection, they clean it, pack it, and once a week it goes on the big lorry then to the ferry in San Sebastian and then further to mainland Spain. I remember this place, this cooperative was open 6 days a week and now they only work 2 or maximum 3 days a week. So there is much less bananas to before. A banana plant has to grow 1 year to produce the fruit. After harvesting the fruit, and they normally cut it when it's still green, just before it becomes gets yellow. And afterwards they have to cut a trunk because the mother plant would die anyway. And around the mother plant there are 2-3 babies coming up, shoots coming up, and they leave normally 1 or 2. And again it needs a year till the babies are grown up, give fruit, and the trunk is very juicy, it's not hardwood, and fantastic pig food. They keep the pigs in the beside valleys. valleys is always very rough, and that's the reason why the beaches are stony. It's too dangerous to swim here. In Hermigua they have built a pool in between the rocks where the children in the summer holiday at least have a possibility to swim without danger. And at the end of this long stony beach we see these 4 concrete columns in a moment. On top of those columns was the crane to load the fishing boats and to load the steamboat. Down here near the coast there are a few apartments to rent. In the north some mostly German pensioners stay. The prices are very low here in the north in comparison to the prices in the south. But often also it's cooler, it's cloudier, it's rainier. Old grandmother and grandpa get over, because if you're living in Agulo you've got to jump. If not, you know, if you want to have a happy, lucky year, you have to jump over. Up there at the mountain you see where in the winter season often the waterfall comes down. There's a lot of water up there in the mountain after rainfall, and this is sometimes months long running water, the waterfall. And around Agulo you see there is a lot of terraces. There was a very rich farming going on here. Many people moved away from Agulo. Half of the houses are empty, or the lower ground is empty, and upstairs somebody is still living. Many people left the village. It's now a half-dead place, but once upon a time it was very, very busy, this Agulo, and also a rich place. And here we stroll about half an hour, little bit up, little bit down, nearly nothing straight. Here we get off the coach, you can follow me. The roads are very small and narrow, and where we walk there can be also some cars pass. Then we have to take care, yeah, just take care.
I'll take the rear as usual, okay. No, these ones have to run. These people have to run.
They can do double throttle.
It's like if you have a dog, isn't it? They always go twice as far as you do because they run there and they run back to you. Another cat. Cats today.
Here we go.
You know.
They're either doing very well, or clearing the stock.
It's going to be mostly like this. For the ones that cannot keep going, you can take some nice shots right
That's
here.
where Mrs. Merkel used to wear pajamas.
Only blue one.
Only the blue ones. They only,
But she
only
had
had
pale
blue.
blue one.
She was Cambridge and he was Oxford.
Right.
Pale blue, yeah.
That's fantasising with a vengeance.
And many times washed already.
Not a picture I wish to recreate in my mind.
The lady who cleaned it, she was disappointed. People wearing so lousy pajamas.
Well, you couldn't imagine a nice, fancy night dress.
You do wonder about our dear Queen, don't you?
It's on the roof. I always buy new pajamas when I come on holiday. I've been on holiday for 10 years.
So you got 10 new pajamas.
Silly, isn't it? Sometimes you think about what you leave on your pillow.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, why should you want to impress the chamberlain?
And you never actually see them, so you don't, and they don't see you.
Really?
I mean, I also have old nightwear, but I'm not that famous and that rich.
Getting to the point of too much information, I think.
I always took some photographs of some German friends. I said, smile like Angela Merkel. And they brilliant photo.
You're a stirrer. When I met her, she didn't have the makeup good. She looked horrible. The face, totally tired. I thought, what a horrible job you are doing. You know? It makes you totally unhappy. Nobody's happy about what you're doing yourself. You're absolutely tired, you know. You look actually like a piece of shit. Really. When I see her on television, she always looks nice dressed, you know, and nice with the hair and so on, and with the makeup. In the Zebra Forest, she looked horrible. There were so many of them. Bottom balcony up there.
So did I, but we're not.
Like in the Grand Canyon, this is a little one. There behind is a restaurant. And to their leads a very small road from the other side. So that we are not doing today. That we are doing mañana. You know already what that is, yeah? Mañana means not today. And this also belongs to...
Are you coming down from there?
Oh, it's exactly! Good idea. That belongs also to Olsen, including the restaurant there and the road going there. Everything up there belongs to Olsen also. Well, we see a quite old center of this Agulo, and some very old houses, nicely decorated. About years ago, people just started building new houses here, you know. And then only they put up the law that here in Agulo, no new house can be built anymore. But there are already some. They're maybe 10, 15 years old. Old houses can be bought and renovated, so if you're interested in a house in Agulo, get these big walls, you know, stone In olden days, there were no cars, of course, and these roads were used for the people. Children playing around here, they brought the whatever they harvested downstairs with the kitchen or open fires, you know.
It's mostly like this all the way up, but there are steeper parts. Okay, thanks anyway. My pleasure. I've got to go back to the driver's chair.
It's up there in the middle. We will come closer. And then we will see. This seems in olden days, yes. Now, no. Now, no. The opposite, people are moving. This is all empty now. Some, you know, but they don't like the Spanish people very much. Spanish and Canary, they don't like each other. Never they like each other.
Well, why is it called the Road of Big Feet?
Piedra Grande. Piedra is the rock.
Oh, a rock. Oh, I was thinking of
It's not
feet.
the
That was
pierna.
Ah.
Pierna is the leg. But this is piedra. Piedra is a
rock.
big stone. Stone, yeah. Stone. Yeah, that's sometimes misunderstanding. I had a lot of this in the beginning when my Spanish was not so good, and I had to talk with the people. There were a few times laughing and laughing. They couldn't stop laughing about what stupid thing I said. But it was funny. I loved it. Hola.
Bien, ¿y tú?
Gracias, sí.
We have friends, English, who have moved to Wales.
Yes.
And of course, there is a Welsh language.
Yeah, I know.
And they live in an area where many people speak Welsh,
Yeah.
so they have learnt Welsh.
Yeah.
So whenever they go into a shop, they always speak Welsh,
Yeah.
and the Welsh people always reply in English.
Because they know they are not Welsh. I had the same story because I'm from the border to Switzerland, and I worked here 8 years for a Swiss agency, and when they heard me talking their dialect, then they replied, they answered in German, but they can't speak German, you know. It's always this Swiss background there.
We have a car coming.
Oh, right. Car coming.
Here there are many words, they are so similar. For example, oreja. Yes. Oveja is the sheep. Abeja is the pig. Abajo is down. Yeah. And in the first I was confused about it. And then I wanted to tell the neighbor a bee was fighting me, you know. Stinging me. No, just a few words. But I had to learn it very quickly. And I learned it with the people. People.
Yeah.
People. Hi, Anna. Na? Heute hier? Ja. So, sonst sind wir den anderen. This may be a castle lover, but then on the map. Yeah, yeah. But normally they have a different guy.
All right.
Guide. And the other one seems to be on holiday. Who normally wants to go. But Anna is also calling from those days when I was daily working.
All right.
So she's happy to keep on going.
Yeah, but she's living in a different valley. So I don't see this one. Yeah. This is the church. And here in the middle of the road you still see where these fire columns were. Where the men, they always jumped here over this column, ran around and came back. And then people everywhere. There behind the band was playing them later, the whole night through for dancing. And here more huts than this, all selling lots of drink and some food as well.
What sort of tree is this?
This is a ficus, introduced tree, decorative tree, what was introduced in Franco's time, I think. Because it seems to be very old. If you want to have a look, a quick look in the church, is a simple church. Maybe a castle lover.
I stayed with a boy called Benny Brown. He told me how to get cigarettes out of a machine. In England, there were no cigarette machines after the war for many years, you know.
Yeah.
She was always probably thank you now. 26.
Okay, so I'll take the rear.
Okay. We turn there left.
Yeah, I know.
There
Left
we
and
turn
then right
left.
and then left again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the asphalt road. We're gonna pass by the almond tree, which I love.
Yeah.
Alla Esquerda. Esquerda.
Escuela.
No, you know, Esquerda. Is that left? A la direction.
Izquierda.
A la direction right.
A la izquierda. Hey! There we move in, a la izquierda y al derecho is the right. Izquierda, derecho. La vieja escuela means this one. This is the old school.
Non, ils sont carrément comme des vitrines.
Ouais, et
Un carreau.
comme une chambre.
Ah oui, d'accord.
Oh, smoke. You see the restaurant up there? Wonderful view.
Gives a bit of comfort. There's the bus over there.
Poinsettia, look.
Oh, yes. Our poinsettias never look like that. Little
Poinsettia, sometimes they cut it back to about this size in springtime. And then in 1 year it grows 4 or 5 meters high.
We can only get them as pot plants.
Yeah,
round
yeah,
about
Christmas. We get them little.
And always in the middle of December starts becoming colourful.
Yes, it goes red, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In fact, it has cracks.
This is an Hesperus tree. Loquat, I think it is in English. This was introduced as a seed with the people from the boats from Japan or China. There it was indigenous. And here it found very good condition to grow. And this time of the year it's flowering. And Christmas and they're little tiny fruit. And in March, April we eat them. They're little and bright yellow and tasting very good, similar to lychee. And they become inside then soft, and then you eat it. So once a week I pick my avocado for the next week, and I eat the avocado I picked last week. And like this you can eat avocados till April. If you wait till the fruit is ripe on the tree, you might wait till April, and they come down in 2 days' time, and nobody can eat that much avocado. In one go.
In one go. Or prickly pears. In one go.
But it's the end of the season. I
No,
think.
I'm just joking.
Last month you should have come. Last month.
I was supposed to come last month, but I was in Greece last month.
Right down next year, September.
Yeah.
Gomera.
Okay, that's
Tell HBB. Saga, pardon.
So you can see the coach. It's over there, and that's where we're going to.
Right.
Yeah, there we go left. We turn left there. This would be a nice property to buy. Just needs a little.
There we go. Don't take it.
No, I'm not going to. I'm just feeling it.
Filo digo, tiene que ser amarillo. When they are yellow, then they're ripe.
But ours are exactly the same.
Yeah, that is all the same.
Yes, yes, but at least the ones that are
Passion fruit.
Yeah.
Passion fruit.
yeah, there's one actually on hanging on there.
Passion fruit.
Oh, passion fruit. It's the green thing on there.
Yeah, don't blame me.
Pumpkin. For December, January.
The roses are nice as well.
Yeah. Once in a while somebody looks after it.
Yeah.
But then for a long time nobody. I think maybe the owner lives in Canary and comes here once a month or...
Yes, yes.
Because sometimes it's super organized and super, and other
Hasn't really
times
cut them
not.
down. Did they?
Yeah. They also have a wine press inside, the barbecue place, the outside kitchen. I think that's a weekend house there. Here the builders and the farmers are the same messy as in Germany.
Yes. They're messy
Is it
everywhere.
the same in England?
Yes, it's never clear up.
Yeah. They use it for the soups.
What is the nut noise?
That's mango. Right. There's mango there behind. That's a kind of chili. Then this plant with the big green leaves.
Yes.
This is a tropical plant. And it is introduced from the tropical countries of South America. It's yame. Yame has to grow 3 years, and it needs everyday fresh water passing through. It is always in the mud.
Yes.
And after 3 years growing, they can dig more than 1/2 meter deep in the ground. They cut the root, and this root has to be boiled 5-6 hours, long time. And because here the island is mostly quite dry, there are not many places with a lot of water. Yame was always a luxury thing.
So,
Yeah.
so the fruit.
There
the
would
fruit we
not
could-
be, and there is no
That's not
fruit
edible.
at the yame. It's the root what they
Oh, okay.
harvest.
Yeah.
And there is no Christmas meal without yame.
Ah, right. Okay.
This is the luxury.
Luxury.
And I thought, my God, that must be the best of everything. It's nothing special.
Nothing special.
It's good, like sweet potatoes, similar. I mean, nice to eat,
But not a yearly treat.
a Christmas meal. It was, I think it's the nostalgic thing.
Yes.
Because they had little quantities of this yame. They only had it Christmas, Easter, or when the fiesta was in the village. And these were days when nobody worked and everybody had fish or meat and yame and wine. I'm making music and singing, you know, and maybe falling in love, you know, that day. There were always special days, these fiesta days. In the upper part of Valle Gran Ray. Here also abundant terraces in many places. wherever you cut down forests, there's less dripping or no dripping, and there's less water as before. And what they could do, and in some places they still do, they have some vineyards on these terraces, but most of them are abandoned. There is a reservoir above Las Rosas. That's enough water for the watering around, just around the village, and it's very fertile there. But these far away terraces, they don't water. These little little trees or tall bushes, these dark green, this is juniper. But also every year we see more juniper because the people don't use it in the agriculture anymore for the animals. Nobody needs so much firewood. In olden days it was really good firewood. And also in the fiesta in Agulo for the fire jump, they always take the wood of this juniper. And I thought, maybe there is a creative Englishman somewhere who comes to Gomera and settles down and makes this gin from all the juniper here. Isn't that a good idea? English or Scottish who likes to be here in the countryside and makes the gin. We are driving up parallel to the north coast, not so far away from the sea. And it's here in all these parts, it's the same, you know, abandoned terraces, farming doesn't function anymore. And the trees from the forest are coming back to these abandoned terraces. This means here in the north, the forest really is growing. Let's wait 10-15 more years and there is much more forest than now on Gomera. I mean, in the south it became smaller because of the fire, and in the north it's growing. Well, and then it was 20-30 years ago when they changed the name Las Rosas in the middle of, with the set to Rosas in the middle with the S written, and this seems to be then the name for roses. Some willows here in the riverbed. Always had a natural port, but the agriculture in Valle was much much richer. Now I showed you the schools and the valleys. Every valley has a school or two. Children are there from the kindergarten and until they are 14 about. And on top of that village school, 8 years and 14, they can do the high school together with the boarding school in San Sebastian, in the capital, and here in Vallamoso, in the ex-capital. And the children from Valle Gran Ray, for example, they come Monday very early morning and Friday afternoon they go back home. Vallamoso now is a sleepy little village. There's not much happening there. A little bit of agriculture, a few pensioners around there, but a little bit of life because big school area with lots of children. Further education is possible of Tenerife. There is this university town La Laguna above of Santa Cruz with about 30,000 students. 30,000 students, also from Gomera and Aguilo and La Palma and so on. Another possibility is in Gran Canaria. Capital is Las Palmas. And of course mainland Spain. Village Vallamoso that goes down the road to the coast. That's about 5-6 kilometers long. A valley full of tropical fruit to the coast. And at the coast also they can't enjoy the beach, the same story as in Amigua. They have a public pool there. From every side it looks different. And we see terraces where I can't imagine to walk there, where people were carrying the crop up and down. How hungry the people must have been to build these terraces up to into the mountains. biggest old church of the north is here in Vallamoso. Shows that it was the capital, the richest place. They renovated 3 years ago. Very big roof with a power clock. In the south, all the churches are very little, you know, like the stone house is little. Here, big. And all these big buildings in the center of the village, this is all school area. From kindergarten till basic village school till high school with a boarding on top. And some teachers also live here in this village. In the middle of the town there we stop. Renato will park the car somewhere, and we have the possibility to choose in between 2 and 4 restaurants to have a sandwich, eat a soup or a tapa. Tapa means a little portion of meat or fish or vegetable or whatever. We will reach there 2:15, and we will have 1 hour. 3:15 we meet in the center, and we drive back to Valle Gran Ray. Do you remember Monday morning our first stop was Cesar Manrique Viewpoint restaurant up there above Valle Gran Ray? Here in Vallamoso we see early out from Cesar Manrique, here on the left hand side on the playground, from the times when Cesar Manrique was a student. Here on the left hand side he was a student, and he was on holiday on Gomera, and he created this concrete art. So, and here, right in front of us, this is the square of the center of Vallamoso. You see over there the Spar, the supermarket, another one here, and over there there's a restaurant. In this road down there is a restaurant. A little bit further up the parallel road also has a little restaurant. All in 2-3 minutes here there. And our possibility is to walk up one of these 2 roads and have a look into the church. The Saint de San Miguel.
The difference between the shop this is a full day job.
village is now a nightmare for the driver with the big coach on the small road. Sometimes cars wrong path, but he will manage. He always manage somehow. The main police station of Gomera is still here in Valle, and that goes back to Franco's times, you know, when all the soldiers and policemen were here in Valle, because it was the capital. Far away from mainland Spain, from Madrid, here was no control at all. And the local people here, they hated the Spanish people, they hated them. And still they're hating them. Gracias. But the police station is here still. If you see old black and white photos from those days when the Franco's people were here, you see all the local people very skinny because they walked and worked a lot and had the minimum to eat normally. And Franco soldiers and policemen, they were all very round, you know. They had every day the meat and the fish and the best food and the wine and whatever they wanted, and it was all stolen from the local people. That's why this hate goes back to those days with Franco soldiers. Especially here in the north, there were quite many rebels, and they had a language talking to each other what the Spanish could not understand. It was the whistling language, a syllable. That goes back to the indigenous population, the Guanches, a syllable. Way of communication from one mountain to the other. The shepherds, the farmers communicated like this, and they were all anarchists in Franco's time, helping each other. Yeah, if the shepherds was going there, the friend was whistling, better don't go there, there is the control, and the shepherd with 10 goats never knew how many he will lose. Is it 1? Is it 10? You know, is it 5 or what? Yeah, it depends on Franco's soldiers' mood. Look over there on the left-hand side on the mountain. And there's a proof who was whistling behind the bush or behind the wall. Yeah. And they all whistled, and they were all a little anarchists. They had to feed their children. They had to bring up the children, you know. They need the food. They couldn't give all to these foreigners with the uniforms and the whistles. Well, and the story goes back to those days. If you ask a Gomero or any Canarian, you are Spanish, he would say no. I'm Canary, or I'm a Gomero, or Tinarifeño. But he would never say I'm a Spanish. There is only maybe 1.5 hours when he feels Spanish, and that is the football. Only if there's this international football, Spain against another, then all of a sudden for a moment they are Spanish, but normally not. My first years here, I heard the silbo daily in the neighborhood. But then the houses got the telephone lines, faraway fields were not planted anymore, and less silver I heard. And it seemed that it disappears now. And that was the moment when they put it to the school, and since that time every child in school has to learn and study a syllable, and they all like and love it. It seems to be fun for them, and little children learn it so easy. Yeah, I became even jealous because I tried so hard and I can't. Yeah, it's impossible, impossible. Yeah. So the old people here, they all know it. The young people learn it in school, and this generation in between maybe hasn't got it. Yeah. There are many in this age, about 40, 30, 38, 45. They cannot do it because they didn't learn it in school and they didn't learn it from the grandfather. So every child here learns the silbo, a nice tradition. My son was one of them. They were always in the evening whistling from one rooftop to the other rooftop, yeah. Especially the naughty things mother should not understand. Yeah. But then after the school, then one was studying here and the other one was working there, and foreign country, times outside, and it's like any language, you don't practice, you forget. So there are some younger people, they meet once a week and they practice, and they still can do it, and others they lost it. And in the meantime everybody got the mobile telephone, the iPhone and so on. Yeah, I'm normally an optimist, but in this way I think a few more years there will be silver only available for money as a show. The indigenous population, the Guanche, they came over from Africa, from the Atlas Mountain in Morocco. What is not proved is how they came here. If there was a land bridge is one theory. The other theory is that they came maybe with these little boats made from African papyrus, what the fishermen at the west coast of Africa used in those times. But exactly how and when they reached the Canaries, we don't know. One thing is sure, these people lived very simple, mostly in caves. They had a little bit of agriculture, goats and sheep, cat and dog. They did some swimming just in front of the coast. And they were using the wool and the leather for the dresses. The Guanche had their own language, their own religion, and their own culture. They did not read and write, but they had their natural gods, and they carved symbols in stones. When the Spanish and some Portuguese discovered Gomera and conquisted the island, it was very easy for them to take over the coast area. It took them 70 years longer to take over the mountain area. Even so, they had the guns and the pistols. The local people could only defend themselves by throwing stones. Mountain area was very difficult for them. They didn't really know where to walk and where these Guanche were throwing down the stones, yeah, and they were very strong and very clever in this. But at the end, the Spanish went. The Spanish language was introduced. The Spanish were not interested at all in this stupid, primitive, far behind grunge. They used them as slaves for working hard for a little food. They sold them to Cabo Verde, direction America. They were showing them on marketplaces in Middle Europe, for sure in Germany, as the wild, strong men from the Canary Islands who can bend the iron, you know, or other stupid things. Many years later then they started marrying each other. Now there is no pure Guanche race anymore. But you see quite many people here on the Canaries, very tall, light skin.